Put your hands together, come on. What? Broken heart, broken dreams, been torn apart, ripped at the seams. I see some things it shouldn't see. I close my eyes and I believe what don't kill you make you stronger. What? Rise up. Just hold on a little longer. Rise up. What don't kill you make you stronger. Rise up. Just hold on a little longer. Rise up. I am powerful, unstoppable, unforgettable. I'm indestructible. Come on, y'all. Where y'all at? Put your hands together for me. Come on. Woo! Talk to y'all. Yes, I'm still breathing. Yes, I'm still breathing. Yes, I'm still breathing. My heart's still beating. My heart's still beating. My heart's still beating. After the rain, there's no more pain. After the hurricane, the sun will shine again. Gonna live too longer. Make you stronger. Rise up. Hold on a little longer. I'm indestructible.
If you're trying to party and celebrate life, tune in the next sound studio tonight. It's live at 8 with the hottest in the state. So tell a friend you wanna take them out of space so they can unplug to a new level. With different artists who take it to a new level. And you never know what you're gonna get. And you never know what you're gonna get. You might get rock or you might get rap. You might get R&B with the boom bap. You might get a band or you might wanna dance bachata. I just know every week's gonna be a shocker. And it's a party for the world, for little boys, little girls, for everybody. In a party, if you came to party, if you came to get down tonight, get down tonight, go live tonight, live from the next sound studio.
Welcome back, everyone. We're here live from Next Sound Studio. I'm Seda, your host for the night. Had an amazing time just opening for you guys with my song Indestructible from my last project, Wonder Child. If I look a little familiar, it's because I appeared on episode 1 alongside Michelle Sings and Kaya No Luck when the show was introduced to you all. And now I'm here to pass the torch on to a fresh new crop of artists ready to take it to the next level. With that being said, I am pleased to welcome the next artist to the stage. Hollywood Noon is a self-proclaimed hood scholar. This Brooklyn native became an artist during her career in social work. Letting her two worlds collide, she has created a sound of lyrical elegance from the world of the streets and the world of a socialist. Let's take it to our director to find out a little bit more about her and her music. Take it away, Will.
And welcome back. Here we are with the director's cut. I'm your director, Will B. Walker. Live from Next Sound Studio, here with Hollywood Noon.
Thank you.
Let's find a little bit about you. So let's talk a little bit about your family and your childhood and your upbringing. A little bit, let us know a little bit about you personally.
I was born and raised in Bedford-Stuyvesant, Brooklyn. My background is Trinidadian. My mom is from Trinidad. My father is Trinidadian descent as well. I went to school all my life in Bed-Stuy. Elementary school, I went to Public School 54. Then I went to Ronald Edmonds Learning Center, better known as Junior High School 113. And then I went to the infamous Boys and Girls High School, which is the heart of Bedford-Stuyvesant. I was 17 years old. I went away to college in Virginia. I went to school in Richmond, Virginia. I got my bachelor's degree from Virginia Union University in Richmond. Came home 8 years later, went and got my master's from Hunter College in social work. So I obtained 2 degrees in my lifetime, criminal justice bachelor's and a master's degree in social work from Hunter.
That's interesting. That's interesting. So you have this incredible education behind you, a credible family behind you, and you ultimately decided that you wanted to rap. So tell us a little bit about you becoming a rapper and how that started and the obstacles that you had to overcome in becoming an artist from being a person with a master's degree.
So becoming an artist and becoming a rapper, I've always done music. So I've managed artists in my past. I work with different artists doing artist development. And it's crazy because the first time I went to the studio, which was only almost 3 years ago, and I was telling my boyfriend, my significant other, listen, I could rap. I used to do it for meditation and for my own purposes back in the days or whatever, or while I was in school. And one day my boyfriend was like, you can't say you ain't rap. You rapped if you never been to the studio. So I was like, matter of fact, I'm going to book a session. And I booked the session, and when I booked the session, the engineer knew me for being a manager. So I contacted Sonny Carson, that's S5 Studios. Big shout out to them. So I contacted Sonny Carson. I'm like, listen, I want to book a session. I booked the session, so when I got to his house, he like, oh, where the artist at? And I'm like, I'm the artist. He like, what? So I went in and I recorded, I actually did a remake to NBA Youngboy. From there, I went to the studio 14 weeks straight every Friday. And like my boyfriend made sure I was there. He paid for every session. I did what I had to do. And after a while, I started getting shows. And like I only been doing this for two years and 9 months, and I've done about 32 shows. I recorded about 50 tracks, which is freestyles and originals. And I'm just going where I gotta go with it or whatever. And I got another mission besides being an artist. I write songs too. I want to be a songwriter, and I want to do other things, but some things I can't discuss because I got to make sure I put it in the right format before I discuss it, because I don't need nobody to run with my ideas, you know? So, but I have another mission or whatever, and people like, you been to school for all these years and you going to be a rapper now? I'm like, all of that stuff going to come together at the end of the day. It all
come full circle
together.
from
Yes.
even sitting here now. We
so
talking
one
about
thing will help the other thing out.
Exactly.
Nothing that I do is a waste.
So speaking of your music and your music career, I want to get to talking about some of your lyrics to some of your music.
Okay.
Starting with that no hook. That no hook is a joint, and I know y'all gonna be bumping it just like we bump it in our house every day. Talk to us a little bit about that production. I know you have a video for it, making the video, how that was, who helped you in the process, and all of that.
Okay, so No Hook. No Hook was actually written during the quarantine COVID situation. I would say probably like April, May is when I started working on it. And it started as a freestyle. So it was a freestyle, and I went to the studio with 2 other artists from Brooklyn, Ruga, and also Jay. I went to the studio with them. They was actually on the song that I was doing. So I was putting them on the song, but I told the engineer in between time, we had a little space in the session. I was like, I want to record this. Sonny, let me get in the studio. Let me get in the booth. I want to record something I was working on. So it started off as like a freestyle kind of, and the hook came from what I wrote. And my homeboy Ruga was like, wait, stop it right there and make that the hook. And when I left the studio that day, I had a hook, a verse, and a hook. So I'm like, I gotta finish it. So No Hook, I went home. I wrote the second verse to No Hook 11 times before I got it right. And I had to make it purposeful and for that moment what was going on. So I made sure I talked about George Floyd. I talked about COVID. And I just talked about what's going on or whatever now. Like it's a lot of violence or whatever. You getting money, they on you. So I talk about different things like that in my second verse. But the first verse is basically just talking about myself, boasting myself up, like, this is me. And then the video, I'm like, I love my friends. And it was like, just to see the support, like, I remember my first video, only 3 people showed up. And my boyfriend, a couple of his homeboys came or whatever. And it was like, I made that video and I made it work. And I was hurt, but I learned as time progressed that, like, it'll get better. Like, I have to show and prove, and that's what I'm doing. Everything that I have is organic, from my followers to my views. I don't pay for nothing unless I'm paying for promotion. But anything else, I'm trying to I want people to genuinely like me. You don't gotta like me, just like my sound.
And they will. And they will, trust. Stay tuned. Check her out live performing No Hook, Hollywood Noon. We'll be back.
Police shooting. The NYPD says a man firing shots at 2 people in Brooklyn, and the cops arrived. They fired at the gun.
Got my bands up, fucking that dance up, my hands up, holding my pants up, pop my shit, 100 bands up, Christian Dior, I'm glammed up, you want this smoke, get jammed up, 5'4" when I stand up, never flip the switch, got my own shit.
I love Chris Rich.
I'm flexing on you, big stepper, I'm stepping on you, goddamn it, I'm fresher than you, these diamonds put pressure on you, you see me, I'm flexing on you, know that I'm better than you, we gang, we ain't throwing no flags up, I'm riding dirty, I'm mask up, keep a shooter 6 feet in the black truck, my drip on freeze tag, that Mozzie gon' breeze past, wait for what, got the easy pass, fuck the D's, I'm a speedy pass, that Louis bag, got all my cash, fucking that dance up, my hands up, holding my pants up, pop my shit, 100 bands up, Christian Dior, I'm glammed up, you want this smoke, get jammed up, 5'4" when I stand up, never flip the switch, got my own shit, nigga, got my hands up, fucking that dance up, my hands up, holding my pants up, pop my shit, 100 bands up, Christian Dior, I'm glammed up, you want this smoke, get jammed up, 5'4" when I stand up, never flip the switch, got my own shit, nigga, I'm shitting on you, ill will got me dripping on you, my attitude getting to you, name a bitch better than who, goddamn it, I'm flexing on you, you know that I'm better than you, y'all better get ready for new. Y'all fucking with me, you gon' run it up. You better get me, put your money up. I got to the bag of my money up. I don't mean to brag of my honey up. George Floyd, y'all riled up. COVID, keep your mask up. More reason that backed up. Y'all gang and I racked up. Smokers only, I'm gassed up. 1942 with that glass. I'm fucking that dance up. Foreign bitch, them bands up. 12 can let everybody like cancer. When 12 pull up, you show your wasted hands up. Fucking that dance up, my hands up. Holding my pants up. My shit, 100 bands up. Christian Dior, I'm glammed up. You want this smoke, get jammed up. 5'4" when I stand up. Never flip the switch, got my own shit, nigga. Got my hands up. Fucking that dance up, my hands up. Holding my pants up. Pop my shit, 100 bands up. Christian Dior, I'm glammed up. You want this smoke, get jammed up. 5'4" when I stand up. Never flip the switch, got my own shit, nigga.
We hope that you enjoyed that last performance from Hollywood Noon, and we will hear from her a little later tonight. But first, let me introduce you to the next performer of the evening. Mike Vocalz is an R&B singer born and raised in Harlem, New York. Coming from a singing family, he began singing at an early age and received formal training from the Song of Solomon Academy. He has sung background for artists including Fantasia Barrino, Elton John, and Jay-Z. He is excited to be able to reach all people through his music and his voice, and we're excited to welcome him to our stage. First, let's take it to the director's cut and find out more about his story. Check it out.
And we're back with the director's cut. Here I am, Will B. Walker with Mike Vocalz. He's the man of the hour. So it's gonna find out a little bit about him, his past, his present, his future. He has a very interesting story. I'm sure you guys will be very interested in learning some things about him. So we're gonna take you back to his young days, his early days, and his childhood, and tell us a little bit about growing up, where you grew up, and what it was like growing up, and what things were like for you in your household and things as such.
So like growing up, I was like sheltered. I grew up in Harlem. I had, family from the South. They relocated up here. Some moved to New York, some moved to Jersey City. When I was growing up, I had 2 cousins that were signed. One was from the Drifters, an old school group from like the 60s. His name was Doc Green. And then my other cousin, when I was younger, I used to look up to him. He was Unique Mac from this group called Solo in the 90s.
Okay.
They were signed to Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis label with Janet Jackson. and that was like my inspiration. I didn't know I could sing. I grew up sheltered, and my aunt raised me, and they had me in the church, all my life. So I was in the church one day, and they asked me to do the solo, and this voice came out, and I jumped, and everybody else jumped. So like it was an accident that I found out I could sing. I was like 8 or 9 years old. So that's how I found out I could sing. And of course, like I learned in the church. I grew up Catholic. By the time I got like 18, I started going to like a Pentecostal church. But my second Catholic church started singing gospel during that time.
I was going to ask you about how was, so I know you have this amazing voice, and how did that go with Catholicism? How did that work?
It was actually cool because so when I got to high school, that's when I started learning how to sing classical and opera, and I joined this choir called Songs of Solomon, and like that's where I got all my vocal training from. That's where I did like most of my gigs, and that's what started me out because we were like the top choir in Harlem.
Okay.
So that's where that had came from. But like the more I would sing gospel as a Catholic, the more I would want like more spiritually. So like I joined after that. Like I joined Pentecostal church.
So you went from one
real quiet like this to everybody shouting
next.
it. Yeah, it was a kind of like weird transition because I'm used to like Catholics are, even though we were saying gospel, it was like very quiet, very reserved, and then you go to a Pentecostal church, it's like everybody jumping up, shouting, and I'm like, oh, you okay?
That's cool. So I know you talked about church and you learning to sing through the church, and you ultimately went to school for music, or where did you get your?
I was like an angel and a devil on the shoulder, because also growing up, my aunt she bought me a Gateway computer, and that's why like I started learning how to. I built my first website when I was 14. I started doing graphics on Photoshop. Started teaching myself that, and then I was always confused as whether I should go to college for music, because a part of me wanted to go for like musical theater and learn like music theory and musical theater, and then there was the other part of me that wanted to go to school for graphics and web design. So I took like a year off to figure it out, and then I came up with the decision that I wanted to go to school for computer science, and then that didn't work out. So then I went to school for graphic and web design at the Art Institute. And then after that, I'm like, okay, I want more money. So I went to an engineering immersive. So like now I'm a software engineer.
I want to talk about your music career, which you have all of that. He's an engineer, and then you have traveled and toured and sung backup for some of the top people on the scene. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about your music career a little bit and how that started and how you became a professional background singer.
My choir that I talked about, Songs of Solomon, that opened the door to a lot of opportunities. Artists would be like, okay, I'm coming to New York, who are your top singers? Like, pick your top singers, I want them to sing background. So I had got selected to sing background for Ruben Studdard for his I Need an Angel single, and that was my first major background gig. Okay. That was on The View for I Need an Angel. And then after that, we had to sing background for Elton John at Radio City Music Hall. And then at that point, I'm like, I'm aging out. I want to go on my own path. I want to do my own music. I don't want to sing gospel. I want to sing R&B, like kind of like following in my cousin's footsteps. So I found an agent, and then my agent called me one day, and he was like, I got a gig for you. And I'm like, okay, what's up? He's like, how's your voice? And I'm like, it's not in the greatest shape. I said, because I was out drinking with my friends. Like, anybody know me, like, alcohol strips my vocal cords. So he like, get in the shower and warm your voice. He's like, you got 40 minutes to get dressed, and we got to get downtown. So I'm like, who's it for? And he like, Jay-Z. I'm like, man, I'm not getting that. And he like, just get dressed. And I'm like, all right, cool. So I go to my brother. I say, bro, you got to pray for me. I said, I got to get this gig. I was like, my life depends on it. So he like, Jay-Z? He's like, I'm going to go pray. And my grandmother, she was like, I'm going to pray for you. She was like, but boy, you ain't getting no gig for no Jay-Z. So I go downtown, I audition. I had sang Anthony Hamilton's Charlene. And they was like, make him sing something else. So the other dude turned around, he's like, nah, he good. He's like, go in the next room. So I go in the next room, and it's like these dudes in there, they fitted me for a tuxedo. So I'm like, what's this for? And this Jay-Z's agent hands me a sheet of paper and she was like, you got the gig, fill this out. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. She's like, yeah. She's like, how fast can you learn music? And I was like, well, I'm classically trained. I said, I did a gig for CBS one morning at 5 a.m. and they changed the song at the last minute and I had the solo. So like, I can learn the song in 5 to 10 minutes. She's like, well, you have an hour to learn the whole show. You're gonna have lunch and Jay-Z gonna be here in 2 hours. And I'm like, huh? So I go in the next room to learn my music and it's the 2 female background singers. It was Nala from The Lion King and it was Fantasia's background singer, so Asla Battles.
Wow.
So, and like, I'm like, what? Like, this is confusing. They like, baby, you got this. Like, just, let's get these parts together. And I had like the most parts, because this was off of his American Gangster album to go along with the movie. So we rehearsing, and I had fumbled the words, and he like, man, you don't know the words? So I'm looking at Jay-Z, I put my head down, I was like, yeah. He's like, I make you nervous? I'm like, yeah. He's like, you good. He's like, what's the word? So I spit back the words to him. He's like, all right, band, let's go. So he's like, relax. He's like, I'm not that type of person. So I'm like, cool. So he's like, tomorrow, y'all, they're gonna start building the set. We gonna go to Brooklyn. He's like, you gonna have limousine service to get you to Brooklyn. And I'm like, huh? He's like, yeah. He's like, I got y'all. So the next day we go to Brooklyn Soundstage and the set is being built. And I turn around and Beyonce is in like the audience. And I'm like, I'm about to die. So my agent looked at me and he like, calm down, because I know how you like this woman. He's like, I said, I know I'm gonna keep it professional. So we rehearsed and I was seeing the soundstage, come together and they building the set. And then the next day, like they just transformed this big sound stage and studio to like this huge set. And then it's like showtime. And I was crying because I'm like, yo, how did I couldn't understand like how I come from the hood, like how I land this gig. I was like, it's nothing but God. And then I told my grandmother and she was like, I don't believe you. So my family from Atlanta, they was in Atlanta and they saw me on the commercial for on MTV and VH1. And they just all started screaming. And she's like, oh, you wasn't lying to me. And I'm like, I told you I wasn't lying. And then like a couple months later, the show came out and boom,
Let's talk about Monster. And you as an independent artist, and coming from background to now an independent artist with your own funding, mind you.
Yeah. it was a weird transition because my family was like pushing me to be this artist, to follow in my cousin's footsteps, and I'm like, I really enjoy like harmonies. Like Brandy is my inspiration, Tweet is my favorite artist in the whole world. So like everything. All the harmonies that I would build for people, like saying background for like, local artists here and stuff, it would be like Brandy and Tweet inspired. So it was like, I didn't really want to be an independent artist. I just wanted to be a background singer for years. And then one day I was like, you know what? I need to listen to what everybody's saying. Like, maybe I could do this. So I assembled like a team of writers. Like one of my friends, he went to school for audio engineering, but he was writing. So he had would write me some stuff, or I would have producers fly in to see me and be like, hey, I got this really dope beat for you. Can you work on this song? And that's how Monster came about. This producer named Sean Original, he flew in when I was at school and we sat down during break and we talked about like, my project and what I wanted to do. And Monster, like, it was just about like a crazy ex who like just flipped the script on you and you meet someone and you think they one way and they turn out to be like this insane person.
Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. As the lyrics say.
Right. Sometimes we date people, we really think we know that person, and then as time goes on, people change. And that person that you're with is not the same person that you once met. It's like people keep evolving. Sometimes it's for the good, sometimes it's for the worse.
He made his trial and turned that into triumph and made some really, really good music from it. So check him out. Right now, he's going to be performing Monster live from Next Sound Studio.
Scattered pieces of the puzzle, I don't know where to begin. Let me start off with them stories that you told your friends. How I mistreated you, stole everything you had. A little of this and a little of that. Even lying, talking about where you bought that jag. But it's okay, I ain't stressing now. find eventually. What's in the dark will come to light, and I thank you for this ride. Pardon me, I'm being polite. You need to get it together. One day she's a monster, next day she's a human being. Such a transition, like them actors in a movie scene. Shorty's Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, beauty master's her disguise. Seduction leads to your demise. See, everything ain't what it seems. Now she's got me asking, where did we go wrong? Was it a mistake to prolong this relationship? Both knowing damn well that this shit wasn't even gonna work. But I had faith in us. Thought we built it all on trust, but here I go singing songs of love. Oh, Cupid just shot one dead, but it's okay. I ain't stressing, I'll be fine eventually. What's in the dark will come to light, and I thank you for this ride. Pardon me, I'm being polite. You need to get it together. One day she's a monster, next day she's a human being. Such a transition, like the actors in a movie scene. Shorty's Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, beauty master's her disguise. Seduction leads to your demise. See, everything ain't what it seems. I tried to tell you everything ain't always what it seems. Some of us, we chase the lies instead of the dreams. Like a kid's imagination, you stuck in between. One day you talk about you love, next day you are mean. Gave you my trust, still I wonder, did you capture it? Never did I ever thought that this was even half of it. Left me on your roof just to hang, and I'm crashing, and I wonder who you really are inside. And baby girl, this is the last time that you'd hear from me. I have no regrets, you'll see. Yes, I just went and set myself free, baby, from you. Now you lose, 'cause I refuse to be stuck with you. Human being, like the actors in a movie scene. Shorty's Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, beauty master's her disguise. Seduction leads to your demise. See, everything ain't. One day she's a monster, next day she's a human being. Transition like the actors in a movie scene. Shorty's Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, beauty master's her disguise. Seduction leads to your demise. See, everything ain't what it seems.
Welcome back. We hope that you enjoyed that last track, and we'll be hearing more from him later on tonight. Now it is my pleasure to introduce the final performer of the evening, to whom I've personally known professionally for about 10 years. Billy's an independent rapper repping uptown New York City. He began working with Next Sound Studio in 2011, and since released Billy Madness 1, Billy Madness 2, and is currently working on his third album, Billy Madness 2.5. Let's take it back to Will to find out more about Billy and the madness. Come on.
And here we are, live from Next Sound Studio.
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
Director's Cut. I'm here with Will B. Walker with Billy. You heard him already in our intro. Heard him rap a little bit. You seen him. And we're going to talk to him a little bit, find out a little bit more about him and his experiences.
Secrets on the madness.
Found out a little bit about Billy and the madness. We just with everybody, we taking it back to your old days, your childhood.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about you as a youngster, how you grew up. I know you come from an unconventionally large family.
Definitely.
So tell us a little bit about that and how your place and where you fit in that big family.
Okay, well, I'm the first boy of this big family. Let me start out by saying that. I have an older sister, from a stepmom. You know, I'll say she's my mother because, you know, like I said, my pops, he kept us all together. He has 11 kids. It's 3 girls, the rest boys. So, you know, I'm sorry I can't keep up with my pop's Rolling Stone habits, but it's a lot of us, and we all grew up together, which was the beautiful thing. You know, my stepmoms and my mom, they held it down however they did it. Shout out to y'all, love y'all both. Yeah, we all grew up together. My pops made it sure, like, we all grew up together. He didn't care what was going on the outside, just made sure we all stayed together. So we didn't meet each other when we were like 25, 26. We all met each other when we were younger, like little kids and all that.
And so growing up, I know in a big house, I know music had to be a part of your house. And so tell me a little bit about who fought over the radio. What were y'all listening to?
Well,
who liked what?
Okay, well, I come from a big church family. Like, my grandma was heavy, from my father's side, she was really heavy on church. So everybody was already musically inclined. So that part was already down there. But as far as like us growing up in the city, we listened to a whole lot of stuff we wasn't supposed to, being that we was in the city and all that. So I took to it first, being the oldest, like I said, and my little brothers, they didn't really care about music. My dad was into music, drums and stuff. So I really picked up the habit behind him because he was like really into music, and he didn't really push as hard as he should have. That's the only thing I'm really mad about my dad, because he had a chance to be like a big superstar. And, you know, it just wasn't for him. Actually, it was for him, he just had stage fright. So he couldn't get over that. That's what really kept him back from. So being that he seen me gravitate to it, you know, he pushed me and he saw himself through me, and then I just bust out on the scene when I was like 10. And I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do. Like, I would have.
You was rapping at 10?
Yeah, like from little, I didn't, you know, I was doing my little, my name is Billy, and you know, that rapping part. But then like 10 years old, I really like started taking it serious. Like, my dad showed me how to like put 16s together and write full songs and who to listen to, and you know what I'm saying? So I was really big on a lot of different music from young.
So as far as that goes, how did your music career begin? How did you become, I know you started at 9 and 10, so where did you go from there?
As the years got like going on, my brother, which is, his name is Christ, he's into gospel music now. He really like was coming up, and that he saw me rapping, he was like, bro, listen, like, I really want to take it serious and I want to do what you doing. So I say, you know what? Like, I was good, but I didn't really like see myself as a star yet, because, you know, I was into basketball and other things, and I really wasn't like going crazy with it. But when my brother was like, listen, you know what? Like, you are good, bro. Like, let's do it together. So I'm like, all right, cool. We formed a little group, and what happened was we met Vinny Idol. Shout out to Vinny Idol. He's with D-Block. He was a producer for D-Block. He knew my brother, which he was cool with somebody else, and then we got linked to him. So once we got linked to him, everything was like history from there. I was like, I really gotta take it serious then. So shout out to my brother, man. It's because of you I took this serious. So yeah, around like 16, that's when it started, like, and we really got into like the business of it, like, as far as meeting different people and like networking, as far as like that part of the music business. So I was in it pretty early, you could say.
Okay, that's something interesting, because I didn't know that
Yeah,
about you. I didn't know you
yeah.
were in it that early. So let's talk about moving forward into we're at 16, let's talk about your 20s and the direction that your music was heading in, and like how you took over your music career in your like later 20s, right? When you start to take over and be
like
more
20s, I was more like into, at that time it was like really like hard music. Like, everybody was rapping like, put you know, so it was really aggressive at that time, like, because I really, like I said, I didn't understand myself as an artist in my 20s, so I was just really like exploring different things and trying to find myself like in this whole music thing. So I was one of those who would just try like any and everything, because I was into so much music, so I was never like afraid to try anything. But like 20s, yeah, it was really like me trying to find like who I am in this like music thing, and who I want to create myself to be in this music industry. So I would say by 20s, I was just rapping like really hard, like, you know, like the whole tough guy persona, you know what I'm saying? So I was really on that type of vibe until I started like really getting into like people that I really was like into, like, you know, as far as like the Jay-Z's and all of them. And I was really into gospel music and R&B too, so I would mix like that with the rap to calm it down a little bit more. Then I started finding myself getting into more of the rap, R&B, like, you know, so I was like, yeah, I think that was my niche, and then it just stuck with me from then and then.
So as you mentioned, I know you've been in the studio real hard over these last few months, putting out some dope music and making some dope videos. I had the opportunity to work with you on a couple of those. So talk to us a little bit about Heartbreaker and that track and the story behind that, and then take us into your live song, because we'll be going into that right after.
Well, Heartbreaker is not, it's not really like it's not a Heartbreaker song. It's really explaining a girl who wants to be in the lifestyle of a famous person. She don't really like love a person. She just loves the bright lights and the perks that come with, you know, being with a famous person. So I felt like that needed to be like put out there, because it's a lot of girls that, you know, that I like this, and, you know, people don't put them out there like that. And you got guys that's like that too, so it could be taken for guys and girls, but I thought it was right to put it out there. Then you guys shot the video. Shout out to B-Roll. If you're looking for dope videos, B-Roll. Next Sound Studios is got everything, man. That's why I love you guys, and you guys give a nice platform for artists to be up here and do what they do. But like I said, Heartbreaker it was dope working on a video, and, you know, we got the visual out. It's out now. YouTube it. Heartbreaker, YouTube it. It's dope. B-Roll shot it, like I said, and yeah, we got a bunch of things coming up, man. Besides Heartbreaker, man, it's not just a bunch of sad songs going on. Got Madness coming out, but we'll get into that. But Heartbreaker was definitely a good song of mine that I wanted to do, and I'm glad I got to do the video with you guys. So I really appreciate y'all for that. And it's a lot more coming up for Billy Madness, so you guys got to stay tuned. It's not just about Heartbreaker.
Well, stay tuned now. You're going to see him perform Heartbreaker here live at Next Sound Studio.
Next Sound.
Don't forget to check out the video on YouTube as well. Download the song too.
Subscribe.
She is a fame chaser. She only wants the lights. She only wants the lights. Let's get it. She love me, just a lie. She only wanna get next to me, cause those flashing lights. She wanna be famous. Yeah, she wanna be famous. She thinks she is designer. These niggas bite like piranhas. These pretty girls are so drama. She only wants the commas. Yeah, she wanna be famous. Check, let me talk. She a bad little mama. Always seem to get what she wants. But if a nigga ain't no better, she'll have us spending cash every month. Cause he's blinded by features, and she got a body like Nicki. So they ain't talking rapper, she always feeling hot, cause she knows she got an easy victim. So now she in the light, with a little bit of fame. She thinks she the shit, cause a few niggas know her name. But bitch, I could care less. You just mad cause you couldn't run game. You just thought when I hit, I was giving game. It's just Uber, adios, I'm on a plane. Cause you was talking that love shit, sunshine, baby. You was talking that love shit, sunshine, baby. I heard it all before. Those lines don't work on me. It was sweet, saying that she loved me, and that was just a lie. She only wanna get next to me, cause those flashing lights. Said she wanna be famous. Yeah, she wanna be famous. She thinking she in designer. These niggas bite like piranhas. These pretty girls are so drama. She only wants the commas. Yeah, she wanna be famous. So she breaking hearts until she get that.
Great performance, Billy, and a special shout out to B-Roll Visuals, who shot the video you saw playing with his live performance. We got more to hear from Billy later on. Next, we want to take this time to thank the sponsors that helped make this show happen. All That Glitters Gem, offering competition jewelry and shoes. They even offer shipping worldwide. You can check out their products on Instagram with the link provided below. We also want to thank Fresh and Healthy Inc. out in Queens, New York. They offer smoothies, natural juices, and healthy drinks. Mention Next Sound Studio and get 10% off your purchase. Speaking of getting our bag here at Next Sound, here's Hollywood Noon to tell us more about her and her new track, The Bag.
And we're back. Hopefully you enjoyed that performance of No Hook. Definitely fire song. We're gonna move forward onto your show where you performed The Bag. And tell us a little bit about the making of that song and writing it, the track, and working with that DJ that you work with, MBG, right?
Yeah, DJ MBG.
Yep, DJ MBG. Working with her, I know she's on a lot of your music. And just talk to us a little bit about your experiences working with her.
Well, DJ MBG, she was with me since the beginning. Working with her, she definitely have a lot of energy, so she brought a lot of energy to the table. She was like the best person to work with. We was like a tag team. She like introduced the track, opened it up, and we just went from there. And actually doing the video for it, we was headed to Miami to actually do a video for a song called Bankroll. And the guy who's featured on the song missed his flight or booked his flight wrong. And he wasn't set to come out for that week. So I'm like, I can't go to Miami and not do a video. So we had previously did The Bag in Brooklyn, and it was done by some great videographers. I won't never discredit them. But The Bag, the lyrics didn't match the settings that we had. So I was like, well, let's just go out there and just do The Bag. So, like, this is like putting together a treatment within 24 hours before getting to Miami. About 9 or 10 of us went out to Miami. A few friends, family members, Zab Judah, my godbrother Spice. We all went out for like 3 or 4 days. So if you notice in the bag in the video, you see is a MCM bag being transferred and different scenes between me and other people. So we made that bag, that MCM bag. So making the video was real fun. It was all the shots was done in Miami. I performed at Miami Live, and I actually won a slot to perform that. I didn't have to pay for that slot. I won it by votes or whatever on social media. So that was kind of cool, and it all made sense. So I was able to perform the song, get your shots from performing, have fun, and get shots on the while I was on the dirt bikes. Or little scooters, we was on the scooters. We have scenes with us just walking through hotels. I'm smoking a cigar. So it was real fun and different. And it was like the first video I did outside of my city. So I had a good time doing that video. And DJ MBG, we made magic together. So that's cool. It was awesome. So.
Well, there you go. Another experience that wasn't supposed to go how it was supposed to go, but ended up being something great and awesome.
Right.
So please enjoy that performance of The Bag, and be sure to check out the music video too. Here she is performing The Bag, Hollywood Noon.
Wait. Before we get to this next song, right, I want y'all to try to follow me. You get to the bag, popping bottles and tag. You paid off your tab, gave the strippers your bag. Now you wildin'. And you blew the whole bag. Wake up tomorrow, now you gotta chase a new bag. DJ, drop that shit for me.
That time, man. DJ MBG.
If you feeling this shit, you know, give me a little 2-step or something.
No, it's about that time we tell them exactly how we get to this fucking bag.
You get to the bag, popping bottles and tags. You paid off your tab, gave the strippers your bag. Now you wildin', and you blew the whole bag. Wake up tomorrow, now you gotta chase a new bag. You get to the bag, popping bottles and tags. You paid off your tab, gave the strippers your bag. Now you wildin', and you blew the whole bag. Wake up tomorrow, now you gotta chase a new bag. I get to the bag, I don't have to brag. In love with the farmers, my whips and my bags. I show you my labels, you can't read the tags. I want it, I get it, I'm blowing my bag. I'm blowing the bag, I want it, I get it, I know how to get it. No new in the city, I mastered degrees, I mastered the kitchen, I'm back and I'm winning. And I'm chasing this chicken, I ain't chasing no nigga. That is not my agenda. I came to get it, now I'm stunting on my old swag. Candy in my bag, them pink and blue stacks. You get to the bag, popping bottles and tabs. You paid up your tab, yeah, the shit was your bag. Now you wildin', and you blew the whole bag. Wake up tomorrow, now you gotta chase a new bag. You get to the bag, popping bottles and tabs. You paid up your tab, yeah, the strip was your bag. Now you wildin', and you blew the whole bag. Wake up tomorrow, now you gotta chase a new bag. So fucking I win to get money, I spend it, blow stacks on my bitches. Got my niggas, we winning. Fendi go yard, I'm getting. Foreign cars, I be in them. Blowing sour, we dripping. See my time, we not ticking. Burn a tuck, never slipping. Big clip, cause you tripping. You might slip up my dripping. VIP got your litty. Turning up in my city. You see me spending, and we blowing through the whole bag. My team gon' win because we focused on our own bag. We get to the bag, popping bottles and tags. You paid up your tab, hey, get the strip with your bag. Now you wildin', and you blew the whole bag. Wake up tomorrow, now you gotta chase a new bag. You poppin' tags in your tag stage, got me in your bag, babe. Repost your V in your cash state. You getting money, don't translate. You getting money, don't translate. You get to the bag, popping bottles and tags. You paid up your tab, get the shit with your bag. Now you wildin', and you blew the whole bag. Wake up tomorrow, now you gotta chase a new bag. You get to the bag, popping bottles and tags. You paid up your tab, get the shit with your bag. Now you wildin', and you blew the whole bag. Wake up tomorrow, now you gotta chase a new bag.
That was definitely a banger. And lucky for all of you, there is more Hollywood Noon coming later. First, let's slow it down and take it back to our director with Mike Vocalz as he reveals how he used heartache to propel his independent music career. Let's go, Will.
And we're back. I hope you enjoyed that last performance of Monster. Moving forward, I want to talk about another song that you performed live, which was Haunted, Heartbroken. I know it's a long story behind that, and I got a little time. Okay. If you want to tell us a little bit about the story behind it and what it means to actually perform the song now. And yeah, just talk to us a little bit about Haunted, Heartbroken.
Haunted, Heartbroken takes me to like a really emotional space because I am still married. I'm going through a divorce, and the person I was with, you know, left me for someone else. They decided to just up and ruin the marriage. Really, it was like real malicious, it was real fucked up. And, you know, I had to adjust my life. Like, you know, my life kind of like took a downward spiral so fast, like I couldn't really catch myself. And, you know, it took a while to kind of like, you know, I'm still getting over it, but to adjust my life. Like, you be with someone for 6 years, that's all that you know is that person. Anything outside of that is kind of like awkward, it's kind of weird. So it was like a weird adjustment, and I was just trying to like wrap my head around to like, why is this happening to me? You know, why couldn't that person be a bigger person? If they wanted to just up and leave me, just say, hey, we're not working out, let's just call it quits, or let's go to therapy together, let's at least try to work it out. But they just up and left me. And then they left me hanging financially, you know, I had a kind of like a really bad breakdown. And it's like, they kind of like laughed at it in the background, like as if it was funny. And like to see me fall so hard, especially knowing like how my life came up from one place until like, you know, before I was an engineer, I wasn't making as much bread. Like as an engineer, like, you know, now I'm able to take care of home and, you know, travel, you know, do things I couldn't really do before. And it's like, to just leave me hanging and just laugh at me, it's like, really? Like, you gonna do that? Okay, so I'm not gonna channel this energy and, you know, do some negative things. Let me put it in a song. Let me channel this energy. Let me let y'all hear like my hurt, my pain, and feel what I'm going through.
Well, and that's exactly what he did. He put his pain and sorrow and all that into this song. Hope you guys enjoy Haunted, Heartbroken, and we'll be back with you soon.
It's almost 2 a.m. and I don't wanna call your phone this late. You're laying next to him. Good night, goodbye. I can't sleep without you here. Restless dreams turn into nightmares. I'm going numb, but I still feel your hand in mine. What do you do when you can't move on? I ain't got nobody to love me now. Visions of you that won't let me go. I'm haunted, heartbroken. I ain't got nobody to love me now. Visions of you that won't let me go. I'm haunted, heartbroken. Haunted, heartbroken. I thought I heard footsteps. I thought I heard heartbeats in the distance. You're standing by him. You chose your side. I can't grieve if I can't feel. I'm still numb from all those nightmares. I'm hearing voices in my ears. Your whispers. What do you do? I ain't got nobody to love me now. I'm haunted, heartbroken. I ain't got nobody to love me now. I'm haunted. I'm fighting off hallucinations with you, with you. Still wish I could be with you, with you. You made your choice, you chose your side, followed your heart, but you broke mine. You chose your side, followed your heart, but you broke mine. What do you do when you can't move on? I ain't got nobody, I ain't got nobody now. Haunted, heartbroken. I ain't got nobody now. I'm haunted, yeah. Heartbroken, 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 heartbroken.
That's honestly what being an artist is all about. Taking heartache and pain and essentially using it to fuel your passion. And sometimes, like in this case, it makes you face and conquer things you never thought possible. Thank you, Mike Vocalz, for exposing your vulnerability to us. I know that isn't easy. Now, it's time to light up the night with Billy.
Oh, you thought you still wasn't gonna see me, man. The madness still continues at Next Sound Studio. Let's get lit. Check. I spend big money. I spend what I like. Big money. That's why these niggas is tight. Big money. These hoes is coming in flocks. Big money. You front, I'm throwing them shots. Then these niggas so mad. They don't wanna see me rich. Then these bitches so mad. I don't wanna make my bitch. Then these niggas so mad. They don't wanna see me rich. Then these bitches so mad. I don't wanna make my bitch. Check. Big money, all I know is get it, baby. And the way I spend it, try these fuck niggas really crazy. Cause this new coupe that, and this new bitch that. I be in and out of stores, new design on my back. New help with they jack. Dancing Billy, you a snack. Well, eat the dick, bitch, and that'll be that. I'm deep in these streets, my eyes on them ops. You think cause I'm rich, I'm gonna sit in them shots. Money, yeah, spend what I like. Big money, that's why these niggas tight. Big money, these hoes come in flocks. Big money, front, I'm throwing them shots. Damn, these niggas so mad, they don't wanna see me rich. Damn, these bitches so mad, I don't wanna make my bitch. Damn, these niggas so mad, they don't wanna see me rich. Damn, these bitches so mad, I don't wanna make my bitch.
That's why.
So speaking of your authenticity and your performances, you tore down the house when you performed Lit. And tell us a little bit about this new sound that you created when you came in the studio. It was like something new, it was something fresh. So tell us how you came up with that.
Lit was dope. Lit is basically like what's going on in 2020. You know, we had the whole corona, everybody had to stay in the house and a lot of people was depressed. So I was still like in the studio and I was like, let me create something that's, you know, still fun and, you know, people could feel like they still in a club vibe, even though they in the house quarantine partying, but it's something that people can have fun to. So I just went in there and did the madness and created Lit and hope everybody enjoyed it. It's a turn up song, so make it viral.
Yet another dope performance, Billy. And great job, everyone, tonight. Thank you all for tuning in. Please continue to like, share, and subscribe to Live from Next Sound Studio. And also be sure to stream all music that you've heard tonight. Now, I just want to take a moment to kind of just introduce my next single that you heard on episode 1. It's finally available now on all streaming platforms, titled One More Time by yours truly, Seda. Please show me some love on that new single. Now get ready, y'all, because we're going to close out the night with Hollywood Noon, telling us a story of how tragedy has changed her trajectory and why now quitting is not an option. Here she is with her story, followed by her motivational track, How I Know. See you all next time.
And again, as I said, that was another hot track. You did a couple of fast, hot tracks that night, and you slowed it down a bit when you performed How I Know. A little intimate song, very detailed and telling of a story. I don't know if it's a true story or not. So I just wanted to know how you derived at those lyrics and who wrote it, did you write it, how it happened, and just a little bit of background behind that song.
Well, I wrote that song, and the song is kind of like a true story, but more so fabricated, little add-ons. I don't have any cases. I talked about my friends as far as females, and you know, along the journey, people come and they go. People was around before the journey and they fall off because they don't agree with what you're doing, or they got some type of hate in their blood and they just start acting funny. But the song is basically true, but more so fabricated at the same time. But I put a lot of emotion in that song and a lot of pain. And when I watch the video and I see the performance piece, those are like, I felt the crowd, so I was like, wow.
So again, we really appreciate that performance and you being able to bare your soul live here at Next Sound Studio.
Yeah,
we're gonna cut to that performance, but also I wanna talk a little bit about the story and connecting and how we ended up linking up and what you were going through at that time when we reached out and asked you to do the show, and what you were going through in that time and how things have come to how your life is now different and changed?
So August 20th, I lost my little sister, my younger sister, from my mother's side. So your mother's child, you know, you raised with your mother. Your mother's child tends to be that child that's right there, like, that's your baby. And when y'all called me, it was, like, perfect, because I was questioning my career in music, because I knew that my sister had 2 kids, and it was my time to step up and help take care of kids alongside my mother and my brother. So when y'all called me, it was like, it's a perfect opportunity to put myself back on the stage and actually put myself back out there. And losing my sister, I remember the last time I really saw her was actually at my video shoot, where she was actually around me for a few hours. It wasn't like, oh, she's stopping at Mommy's house and she's going about her business. And I remember she came to the video shoot and she brought a couple of her colleagues from work. And they had people that was in the music or whatever. And she called me and she like telling me how they felt or whatever. And I knew that she was for me in the music. So when y'all called, it was like, you know, my sister was here. She would want me to keep doing this music stuff or whatever. So, you know, I took that as like, you know what? Let me get to it. And it was like, yeah, I still had a couple of weeks before I actually came to sit down with y'all. So it gave me time to really figure out what's going on. So like, the kids are with us, my sister kids are with us, and I use them as motivation every day because my job is to take care of them and put my pain into the music. So it was like therapy for me. So I appreciate being here, and that invitation is really like a push for me to keep going with my music, so I do appreciate being here.
Well, perfect, you heard it. Things come full circle here at Next Sound Studio. Hope you enjoyed this next performance from her, How I Know, and join us next time.
It's crazy out here to see like people from like 10 years ago just popping up, like, what's going on? Gotta be careful. People out here with a motive. Just gotta keep my head up and stay focused. How I know? How I know they really love me and they never round. How I know they really love me and they really down. Everybody be on my body when I'm in the town. If you fucking with me, you gotta hold it down.
Friendships to friendless, my heart was in this. You came to save me from the shits, I can't admit this. Sometimes you gotta fall back to get a better view. My shit is blurry, gotta think, gotta be rational. What you be doing the most when I get mad at you? You can't compare my love to money, put a price on new. So take the Louis bag and all the bloody shoes. This rollie off my wrist and you can even have the jewels. I hate to pick and choose, you was my fucking dude. I never flake with you, I never play with Jake with you. I cut your grass, I took care of the steaks for you. I was your ride or die bitch, I moved them plates for you. I'm going 8 for you, I caught that case for you. Ain't no replacing new, so I'm not chasing you. I pray it's all up in my head and I got faith in you. I never fake with you, so let's just face it, boo.
How I know they really love me and they never round. How I know they really love me and they really down. Everybody be on my body when I'm in the town. If you fucking with me, you gotta hold it down. How I know they really love me and they never round. How I know they really love me and they really down. Everybody be on my body when I'm in the town. If you fucking with me, you gotta hold it down. I never changed up or switched. I still gang with my clique. Done my days, won my sins. I never gave up on this. I done came up off this. Now you slipping all of my drip. So you know me now cause I'm lit. Keep that same energy since. Ain't no shady shit in my clique. They gon' ride out to this shit. Gang. We coming outside today and I'm around the way. Sipping on Douce and Spade. I got my name up, age will get paid, but no time for haters. I got my weight up. I got my name up, age will get paid, but no time for haters. I got my weight up. I'm making moves, they gotta let me in. Don't ever change up on the way up. And it's time to roll up, pronto with paper. I've been making my rounds and trying to stay up. Taking care of my game, be all the way up. I see y'all when I get to the top. How I know they really love
love me and they never round. How I know they really love me and they really down. Everybody be on my body when I'm in the town. If you fucking with me, you gotta hold it down.
If you're looking for a show, follow Next Sound Studio. No other place to be. Going live every week on a different frequency. They'll be artists of the highest quality. Leaving their heart on the stage. You be so happy you can.